Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Salette Sports Network. This afternoon, the Salette Lions are going to be playing in their preseason matchup against St. Ignatius. I'm Michael McCall, and alongside me is Blaze Laronia. How are you doing, Blaze?
Michael, I'm doing fantastic. I have been looking forward to us broadcasting together and this first rugby game. Excited to see how the Lions do here in their matchup against St. Ignatius.
And there goes the kickoff. St. Ignatius kicks it to the Lions, and there is a knock on the Lions, so it's going to be St. Ignatius' scrum right away. And again, this is a preseason game, so this is not the beginning of the official 2023 rugby season. So the starting lineups for the Lions are not definite. Mr. Coach Vitri, the rugby coach for the Lions this year, he's just going to be, he put people in to especially see those basketball players that missed out on the rugby practices during basketball season. So he wants to put people in position, see how they're doing, and we'll see how this team can work together for the first time against a opponent besides themselves.
Ignatius passing it out along their backs. They'll kick it. Daniel Bergman will receive it and take it into contact. Lions pushing the ball forward, rucking quickly, trying to make some progress against St. Ignatius' defense. Charles Prather takes it in for a big run there.
And that was a good run. He didn't catch that ball flat-footed. He caught it on the run, and you just saw the impact of that running into the defense right there. Great play there by Charles Prather.
Lions now passing it along their backs. Ball's loose for a little bit. Romero will pick it up and run to the other side of the field. Not gaining much yardage, but he'll give it to Daniel Bergman, who gets a long 20-meter run at least.
And for
before
Matthew,
he's tackled.
For Matthew there, he got around, wasn't tackled until he got it to Bergman, but Matthew's got to run straight. He can't drift like that. He's just got to run straight. He ran a lot of meters, but he was not running towards St. Ignatius' try line, which is what we want. We don't want drifting right now. We want the Lions running straight forward, running into the defense, trying to make space, get the ball out to the wings, and find some open space. But running behind the players right there, that's not really what we want to see. So hopefully that can be corrected throughout the rest of this game.
So a scrum is awarded to St. Ignatius as they advance the ball with their forwards.
And right now the Lions defense very clumped up. The wing just sitting out right here on the right side of the field, and nice
a little bit
tackle there.
Exposed. Lions pushing heavily against St. Ignatius' rucks. Not able to make any headway.
And there's a knock on St. Ignatius, so it's going to be the Lions ball, and right there in a row. I believe that's the third scrum of this game already, and this game just started. Definitely the nerves of the Lions. Their first game of this 2023 season.
Indeed, the Lions just have to settle down and get into the groove of how they want to play.
The Lions can use this advantage of the decently new rule. I believe it was in 2022. That's the 50-22 rule, where they can kick it in their half indirectly into touch, and they get the ball where it goes into touch.
Ben Halligan making a good run there, as he is the scrum half, number 9 for the Lions.
Another big run. The Lions pick and go, and there we go, making more meters past the 50-meter line.
Augustin Blood taking Mark Shea's old spot, playing at 8-man today. Coach Vitri wants to see some different players at different positions to try them out, especially early on. So this preseason game is a good opportunity to see how players are going to fit into different roles.
And definitely some big shoes to fill for Augustin Blood, but hopefully he's going to be able to fill those. Definitely got a lot of potential.
Lions playing aggressive on defense.
And a big tackle there, pushing him back about 2 meters. Beautiful tackle there for the Lions. St. Ignatius swings it to the wing.
Good tackle by Matthew Romero. The Wildcats will go back the other way.
And another big hit. The Lions defense looking strong. Counter-rucking good there. They get over that, but St. Ignatius just picks up the ball.
The number 9 is able to pull away. Kevin Quigley with a nice tackle. Number 11 will take it out and pass it along. Lions able to stop that before it gets anywhere.
And right there, the Lions had good defense, but just one small mistake. The wing was able to, or for St. Ignatius, he was able to get around and get about 10, 20 meters on the Lions.
We're seeing good aggressive tackles from the Lions right now. Really getting up there and not afraid to make contact.
Right now, the Lions just need to get a big breakaway and get the ball in the try zone, put some points on the board, find their groove, and start playing rugby. We've definitely, as you just said, seen a lot of aggressive tackles, which is great to see on the defensive side. On offense, it's been all right. There have been a couple mistakes. Again, we saw that knock in the beginning, and hopefully those are just small things that you have to correct at the beginning of the season.
Definitely small mistakes that can easily be cleaned up, just with nerves, as Lions are in their first preseason game. Passing along their backs, Eamon Martin takes it in for a big run. Quickly supported. And Gabe Staffke now in at scrum half temporarily for Ben Halligan. And it'll be a knock on the Lions, so a scrum will be awarded to the Wildcats.
And that was a great play to see from Eamon Martin. Eamon last year, he played 15, so definitely a little bit of a different position now at him playing the outside center, number 13, and that was a good run from him. Eamon Martin's definitely one of those aggressive. He's one of the bigger players, stronger and faster, and so that's great to see that he had a good run there. I was talking to him last night, and he was just extremely excited to get out here this afternoon and play some rugby. He was especially thrilled about making some big tackles out here.
That's exactly what we like to hear from our Lion players. The ball is in. St. Ignatius is going to kick it. Kick is received by Daniel Bergman. He will run it back up.
Daniel Bergman making some meters right there, and the ball comes out. And
a good poach by Charles Prather. He's able to steal the ball. And I believe Kenny Simmons takes it into contact. Braden Wall running up, making some meters.
And Lions are awarded advantage, and there's a breakaway. A nice offload.
Lions quickly ruck over. He'll pass it out to their backs. Peter Dvorak will score the try.
And Peter Dvorak, the captain of this Lions rugby team this season, just picked by the team just a couple days ago, pounds it in and scores the first try, even though this is the preseason game, scores the first try for the Lions in 2023. And what a great play there. After a small mistake, the Lions were able to come up. Beautiful poach from Charles Prather and a big breakaway, a nice offload, and Peter Dvorak gets his hands on the ball and gets it down into the try zone. A nice play there by the Lions offense. We saw their defense was holding strong, making good tackles, preventing St. Ignatius from gaining too much ground on offense, and then the Lions get the ball, and just a beautiful play there overall by the Lions.
Kevin Quigley's kick is good. So the Lions strike first here and quickly up 7-0. As they will receive from St. Ignatius.
And I didn't see if the flags went up, but the scoreboard is still saying that it's 5-0. I don't know if there we go. It's now 7-0, so Kevin Quigley, definitely a reliable kicker for the Lions. Last year he made definitely a lot of tough kicks throughout his season. Definitely been improving that with the help of Father Bevan, our new our new priest at La Salette, assistant rugby coach. I don't know if you can see him on the sideline, but he's definitely been helping Kevin out with his kicks and the rest of the team.
The kickoff will go out of bounds. Ref giving some instructions to the line judge. And I believe it will be a line out to the Lions.
And that ball goes, I believe that went straight into touch from the kickoff.
It may have bounced. It may have bounced once.
Oh no, it did bounce. I'm sorry. Yeah,
it may have bounced once before it went into touch.
I believe that the ball would have gone back if it went straight into touch. So.
Right. So the Lions will get a line out. Charles Prather jumping for the line out. The ref quickly giving some last-minute instructions to both teams. I believe it was not thrown in straight, so it will be a scrum awarded to St. Ignatius.
And Braden Wall right now, the hooker for the Lions. That's, again, another new position for him. He hasn't played that, so he's definitely going to have to adjust to throwing the ball in for the line out. That's a big position for him. And so it's St. Ignatius' scrum. The ball, an 8-man pick. Gets a breakaway and
tackled.
Not into touch yet.
A knock-on by the Wildcats, however, will give the Lions a scrum.
There have been a lot of scrums already in this game, and that's just from a lot of knock-ons. I don't know what the reason for that is. Hopefully it's just going to be the nerves of the Lions from this being their first game this season.
Gabe Staffke passing the ball out for the Lions. Gives it to Quigley. Peter Dvorak takes it into some strong contact. Makes some meters there. Lions taking it in with their big forwards. And I believe that was Gus Blood taking it in there. Quigley is pushed back. And a penalty is awarded to the Lions.
I believe it's offsides on St. Ignatius. So it's going to be the Lions' ball. They're going to kick it straight to touch. Nice kick there by the Lions. Make a couple meters and get their get the line out.
So the starting lineup for the Lions for this game. At number 1, we have Vincent Boozing. At number 2, Titan Esparza.
I believe it's Braden Wall for the Lions at number 2.
Oh, Braden Wall. Number 3, we have Nathan Weiner. Numbers 4 and 5 are Charles Prather and Kenneth Simmons. Numbers 6 and 7 are Raphael Dvorak and Titan Esparza. In the 8-man position, we have Augustin Blood. At scrum half, we have Gabe Staffke. At number 10, we have Kevin Quigley. 11 and 14.
William Fitzpatrick and Matthew Romero.
Correct. And at fullback, we have Daniel Bergman. And at 12 and 13, we have Peter Dvorak and Eamon Martin.
And for the scrum half, it was at the beginning of the game, number 9, it was Ben Halligan. He started the game, however, I don't know if it was a cramp or something happened, and Ben just is on the sideline right now. He's standing there talking to Brother Jude, another assistant coach for the Lions this year. He looks all right, but I don't think he's going to be going back into the game. I believe Gabe is going to stay in for him. But St. Ignatius is going to kick to touch and get a line out right next to the Lions try line. And the Lions got to keep their defense up right here, especially we got to watch the goal line, the try line defense, prevent them from getting in. If they get too close, we hopefully can hold the ball up. The Lions definitely did that a couple times last season, which was great to see.
St. Ignatius taking the ball out, and it is knocked on, so the Lions will get a scrum. Ref calling it back to the place of the knock-on. A fortunate occurrence for the Lions. Gives them a little bit of breathing space to get the ball out of their own 22. Give them some breathing room.
Definitely can't rely on those mistakes right now. They gotta correct their mistakes. Right now they can definitely practice on the scrum, and this game is definitely to show Coach Vitri how his team is and where to put people and see them in different positions, which is definitely he's seeing that right now. And Gabe Staffke is tackled by the St. Ignatius 9, but it looks like I didn't quite see, but I believe that the ref called offsides on St. Ignatius. I don't think Gabe took the ball out of the scrum before St. Ignatius' 9 tackled him, so that's going to be another penalty for the Lions. They're going to kick it to touch and get the line out. So another mistake on St. Ignatius, which is giving the Lions more meters.
So the Lions need to get some momentum going here. After the first try in the beginning of the game, it has kind of slowed down and just been a little bit of a standstill. So hopefully the Lions can regain some of that momentum and threaten again towards St. Ignatius's try zone.
And there's another knock on the field. St. Ignatius is going to get it. And there's going to be another scrum. But right there at the line out, I just want to point out that that was a nice play. So for the line out, when they throw the ball in, I believe Charles Prather caught the ball and tipped it down, and he brought it down, and the line out was still formed until the ball has been taken out. So St. Ignatius was not allowed to advance forward, and so the Lions offense was able to set up a little bit more and pass the ball out. However, unfortunately, they knocked it, so it's going to be St. Ignatius' ball again. But that was definitely good to see that the Lions are the Lions definitely are a team that know the rules of the game, which is always good to see.
Right, the Lions appear to be well organized so far, and it's just been little mistakes that have been catching them here and there. So hopefully those will get cleaned up, and as the game go on, it will become more fluid and easier to go along with the flow of the game. So I'm eager to see how the Lions play out here.
Yeah, definitely a halftime hoping that Coach Vitri and Father Carlisle and Father Bevan and Brother Jude, definitely a really good coaching staff for the Lions. They can talk about those mistakes, and the Lions can just sharpen those up, and they'll definitely have a solid team right now. Their defense is looking very good, stopping St. Ignatius or moving forward. St. Ignatius is pounding hard into the Lions, and the Lions are only letting them gain meter or two.
Lions playing tight defense on their own try line, and they've gained the ball back. Augustin Blood taking it into contact. Lions trying to form a ruck for Quigley to kick it out, and he does. He will kick it into touch.
And Kevin just wanted to get the ball out of his own try line. Kicks it straight to touch. It's going to be St. Ignatius' ball. But he was in his own try zone when he caught the ball, and they didn't want to have the possibility of getting tackled, losing the ball, and St. Ignatius just pounces on it and gets the try there.
Potentially very dangerous for the Lions there. So good decision to kick it out.
And the Lions come up with the lineouts too far, and a beautiful play there.
Vincent Boozing,
a nice.
Now Nathan Weiner offloading it to Charles Prather, making some nice headway.
Great play there by Vincent Boozing and Nathan Weiner.
But an unfortunate knock by Prather. So we'll have yet another scrum. Seen a lot of those this game.
And this year, I know that the coaching staff has been focusing on, and last year, offloads, which those were great offloads right there. Vincent Boozing got the ball and just plowed forward. He could have gone a little lower. Definitely, he's a big player, and if he just lowers his shoulder, gets low, he can make a lot of space, a lot of meters. And then he had the nice offload to Nathan, and then unfortunately, Charles knocked it.
So the Wildcats will pass it out and go for the kick. Again, received by Daniel Bergman, who is playing at the fullback position. He will run it back and
gets to Charles Prather, and we don't want to see that from Daniel Bergman. He ran straight for the touch line and threw the ball behind him. Luckily, Charles Prather was able to get it.
A little bit of a confusing play, but there's a penalty awarded to the Wildcats.
I believe it was not releasing. However, I do apologize. I didn't quite see the ref. And so St. Ignatius is going to get the ball, and they're going to kick it back to touch. So the St. Ignatius is going to go down again near the Lions' try zone. So the Lions going to get another opportunity to practice their try zone defense.
Lions lining up.
And again, back there, that was another nice play by the Lions offense. They got it past the halfway line. They were getting some meters, and then again, there was that mistake, which the Lions really got to start focusing on. It's the game, and there's 8 minutes left in the first half, so the Lions really got to start correcting that. And St. Ignatius is going to throw all the way over the line out and get it to one of their players who makes a decent amount of meters. And it's St. Ignatius attacking on the offense again.
Lions playing hard defense. Wildcats passing it out. Lions able to push them back a little bit. It's difficult to see from this angle up here. But the ref will award a penalty to St. Ignatius. And they will quick tap it. Lions, some aggressive tackling there, able to stop St. Ignatius as they keep pounding it in with their big forwards. Now passing the ball out. And Matthew Romero not quite able to tackle him out of touch. Great effort by Matthew Romero, though. And I believe it will be the Lions line out.
And yes, after the offload by St. Ignatius, again, I do apologize. We are pretty high up right now, but I believe that the St. Ignatius player was tackled into touch, or either the ball went into touch, but it's going to be the Lions line out anyhow. Again, Braden Wall throwing it in, gets it in. Nice line out there for the Lions.
Lions making some headway there. Peter Dvorak pounding forward. But a not releasing penalty is called, and the Wildcats have the ball.
Again, St. Ignatius back on offense. And they're going to opt for a penalty kick, so they're going to be kicking for points.
It'll be first chance to see a scoring opportunity for St. Ignatius this game. They have not really had one so much this game. They have been knocking on the door of the Lions try zone, but have not been able to score so far. So we'll see if they are able to score. Should be an easy kick.
5:54 left in the first half. The Lions still on top, 7-0.
Number 14's kick is good. So St. Ignatius makes their penalty kick, and it is now 7-3. The Lions will be kicking off to the Wildcats. hopefully this helps the Lions to reset and kind of gather their momentum and their strength for another good run before time runs out in the first half.
And a nice kick by Kevin Quigley.
And a good steal by Braden Wall, I believe. Or, excuse me, Peter Dvorak. Lions now pushing forward. Augustin Blood making some major yards up front. Vincent Boozing following him. Now the forwards are taking it in.
And St. Ignatius defense looking strong now. The Lions are going to pass the ball out to their backs now, making more meters right on the try line, right there in striking distance. And St. Ignatius is going to steal the ball. The kick is blocked.
And the Lions are not able to get a scoring opportunity there. St. Ignatius has an opportunity to kick the ball back out of their own 22.
And that kick is not going to go into touch. Received by Matthew Romero. Getting to speed, gets the breakaway, and finally he's brought down to the grounds.
So the Lions almost back to where they started. Using the same method, pounding with their forwards. The penalty is given to the Wildcats.
A big tackle. They hand the ball right to Braden Wall, who goes around in a big U and then gets tackled. Nice offload there.
Kenny Simmons taking it into contact. And the ref is explaining to St. Ignatius's coach one of the rules. Not exactly sure what happened there. Seems there may have been some complaining from the side of the St. Ignatius coaching staff, and maybe he wasn't too unhappy about a call. So there will be a scrum now, Lions scrum.
And there have been a lot of penalties throughout this game on both teams. Again, another scrum. However, it's going to be the Lions scrum. You're going to get another opportunity to score as Gabe puts the ball into the scrum.
Augustin Blood taking it for a big run. Lions backs are setting up. Salette decides not to use their backs, but to go with their forwards instead. Make some meters that way. Gabe Staffy now passing it into Nathan Weiner. Takes it to ground. And I believe that was Charles Prather who will take it into the try zone and score the next 5 points for the Lions.
And there we go. A nice effort there on the Lions' part. There were one or two mistakes on the way there. However, they just pounded back on St. Ignatius' defense, got the ball, on their offense, got the ball back and marched down back to the try line and put the ball in. Charles Prather, a diving try, a great play there by Charles Prather. Then Augustin Blood, another big play by him, taking the 8-man pick, and that's going to be a powerhouse for the Lions this year. Grabbing the ball, ran out of the scrum, and taking it himself. Got about 20 meters there and was able to get the ball to Charles.
Quigley's kick is good again, and the Lions extend their lead to 14 now. So they lead by 11 here with just under a minute to go in the first half. The ref, of course, he has the official game time on his watch, so our clock there, our scoreboard is not perfectly accurate, but it's definitely in the ballpark. Lions lining up again to receive with all their backs and forwards in position. And St. Ignatius's kick. Peter Dvorak attempts to catch it, but it will go out of bounds and count as a knock. So the Wildcats will have a line-out of their own.
And I believe that was a knock on Peter Dvorak. So it's going to be St. Ignatius' scrum. And the clock on the scoreboard has said that the time has gone out. So I believe if the ball goes dead next, it will be the end of the first half. Hopefully the Lions defense can stay strong on this possession.
The ref does not like the way the players are binding on to each other in the scrum, so he makes some adjustments, and they'll do it again.
The ref just adjusting the scrum, making sure everyone is safe.
And the 9 from St. Ignatius will take it himself. Lions defense there is quickly there to help.
There's another penalty on the Lions. It's going to be St. Ignatius' ball.
I'm asking the refs a few questions, and they will kick to touch.
And again, we do apologize. We didn't quite see the penalty, but it might have been diving in the ruck. However, it is St. Ignatius' ball, and they're going to kick it to touch. So it's the Wildcats are going to be again on the try line for the Lions. Last time they were here, they were able to prevent them from scoring a try. However, St. Ignatius opted for a kick and was able to put 3 points on the board. Hopefully the Lions defense can keep up the aggressiveness that they've had throughout this first half.
Lions prepared to take on the Wildcats offense.
And they do a quick throw into the player in the front of the line out.
And the ref deemed something that was not allowed.
I don't think
so
that pass was straight. So the Lions are going to get kicked to touch.
Quigley will kick to touch. And I believe that will conclude the half. So the Lions, they exit the half leading 14-3. A good solid start we've seen here from the Lions. Michael, what do you think so far?
The Lions have definitely been aggressive on offense and defense. There have definitely been mistakes here and there that we've seen, but this is the preseason game for the Lions. First time that they've been playing together as a team. Basketball players have come in. They're in positions that they haven't really played. So this is a game where the coaches are definitely trying to see where they want players, how they want their game plan to look, solidifying their game plan, putting into practice what they've been practicing throughout the preseason, and just really getting comfortable and getting used to playing out there with these with this new team. But the Lions definitely looking solid when they're doing the things they're supposed to. They're getting low, big tackles, getting down the field. Great things to see from the Lions. But on that front, definitely the Lions have been doing a good job this game. They can definitely clean up their hands, make sure they're catching the ball.
Right. I've been really pleased to see what the Lions have been able to do this half. So hopefully they'll be able to come back and start the second half with the same intensity and energy as they started in this game. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be back for the second half in just a few minutes here as the Lions lead 14-3 against St. Ignatius.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this afternoon's rugby game where the Lions are facing off against St. Ignatius Wildcats. The Salette Lions are currently up 14-3, which is definitely a good sign for the Lions. I'm Michael McCall, and with me is Blaise Laronia. And Blaise, I mean, we talked a little bit about how the Lions were doing, but what do you think that what do you kind of want to see from the Lions in the second half?
I think the Lions just need to get a little bit of their momentum going and just kind of get it more into the swing of the game. It is a preseason game, so they haven't played any real games throughout the winter. So I think they just kind of need to get into the groove of things. So it'd be nice for them to just keep playing like they're playing, and I think all the wrinkles will eventually smooth themselves out, and they'll be able to play the game a little bit more fluidly.
Definitely. We were talking to Coach Vitri, Coach Michael Vitri, right before the game, and he told us that this is the preseason game. This is definitely get the players more comfortable with the game of rugby, get ourselves prepared for the rugby season. And right there, I thought that was a 50-22 by St. Ignatius. However, you could not do that after a kickoff, and so it's the Lions' ball with a big breakaway.
Lions passing it down their backs, and Sam Betts takes it for a good run down the sideline.
Daniel Bergman sitting, he's on the sideline right now. Again, as we were saying, Coach Vici wants to see players at different positions, and there's another big run by the Lions.
It looks like Luke Pedri has replaced Daniel Bergman at fullback as he takes it into contact.
The Lions coming with a lot of momentum right in the second half. That's what we want to see, catching the ball while running. They're not catching it flat-footed, which is great, and there we can see the result of that. The meters gained there just from catching the ball running. There we go. We saw Braden Wall doing it right there, and he just keeps plowing forward into St. Ignatius' defense, and that is exactly what we want to see from the Lions right now. Here we go again.
Lions advantages of the little gaps and mistakes that St. Ignatius are leaving them out. And Romero attempts a chip kick, and I thought he would tackle St. Ignatius's player out of bounds, but it appears there was something else. It was a good decision to chip kick. Maybe got unlucky on the bounce. So it'll be a line out to St. Ignatius. The Lions definitely making a lot of headway. Good to see them come out with some intensity after halftime.
Definitely, that's exactly what we wanted to see. The Lions kicked the ball off to St. Ignatius. St. Ignatius gave it right back to the Lions. The Lions just plowed all the way down to the other end of the field, and St. Ignatius is going to kick it, and received by the Lions.
Lions forwards taking it into contact now. And Braden Wall breaks loose. And Braden Wall breaks a tackle, and he's going all the way to the center of the try zone.
And what a play by Braden Wall catching it. I thought he was going to get tackled right there. Lowers his shoulder, gets low, which is exactly what we want to see from the Lions. And he's able to plop right into the try zone and put down the ball for 5 points for the Lions.
That is really impressive to see and really good to see from Braden Wall. He played some varsity last year, and it's good to see him really stepping up and really contributing to the team. And right there is exactly what we wanted to see, taking advantages of gaps in St. Ignatius' defense, and that's exactly what Wall did. He saw the gap, he took it, and no St. Ignatius player was going to stop him from getting to that center of the try zone.
Exactly. I mean, I would be scared to face Braden Wall. He's like a bull. When he gets mad, he drops his shoulder. And
he just told him, "Get off me."
Exactly. And that resulted in a try. And from the whole team, that was a great play there from the Lions. And, I mean, I just said this, but St. Ignatius the Lions kicked the ball to St. Ignatius Wildcats. And under 5 minutes, they get the ball back and put the ball into the try line, and then Kevin connects with his kick. So the Lions are at 21 right now, and that's exactly what we want to see from the Lions, coming right out of half and just dominating out there on the field. that's exactly what we want to see from the Lions, and if they can keep that up this season, there should be definitely high hopes for the Lions in this 23 rugby season.
Quite a commanding lead by 18 as St. Ignatius kicks off. And the ref will...
I believe that the kick did not go 10 meters, so the Lions, or excuse me, that kick went straight into touch. So the Lions are going to get a scrum at the 50-meter line. And another mistake on St. Ignatius, and the Lions hopefully are going to be able to capitalize on this right here. Their scrum at 50 meters line. It's their ball.
As we speak, the junior varsity team for the Lions is warming up. I believe it's the Seaside, and they are warming up for their game, which will be played shortly after this. So stay tuned. You definitely won't want to miss that game.
And Eamon Martin there doing a pencil lay as he puts the ball down. A couple of St. Ignatius players offside there. However, they didn't move towards the ball, so no penalties called. But that's what we want to see when they're lying down like a pencil. They are making the offsides line, the line way bigger for the Lions, so they have more room. And there's a penalty on St. Ignatius right there.
Good kick by the Lions, but it will go out the back of the try zone. So it will be called back by the ref.
I don't know quite exactly what was happening there.
And he will call for a scrum.
Yeah, I don't know what Kevin was thinking there. I don't know if he was trying to do a kick where one of the wings was going to be able to get down there and put it in, or he was trying to kick to touch and the wind blew it back. I don't know, but the ball is going to be brought straight back to the 40-yard line on the football field. I do not know exactly what that is on the rugby field. The try line is the field is extended for the rugby game.
Markings are a little bit different on a rugby field than
That's a nice catch there. Dances around a little bit and finally is brought down. That was a big tackle. And
good job by the Lions spreading out on defense and also shooting up on defense, not allowing the
St. Ignatius, an offload.
Offload is intercepted by Luke Pedri, who will go to ground. Lions now giving it to their forwards, taking it in. Vincent Boozing making it some strong headway there.
And the Lions playing smart right now. There have been a couple penalties, but right back there, there was a long ruck. They were extending the ruck to give themselves more space. And that kick is all the way down, doesn't go into touch. And now it does. So it's going to be St. Ignatius' ball. They do a quick throw, and they're kicking it down to the other, to the 50-meter line, received by the Lions as they're going back at it on offense.
Passing it along their backs. The Lions are able to keep possession of the ball. Nathan Weiner will pass it down. It deflects off of, can't see quite who that is. Deflects off their hands and goes to Matthew Romero, but he will be tackled on the sideline. Lions now passing it back the other way across the pitch.
And the Lions, Eamon Martin just plowing forward, not wanting to go down. The Lions are not just falling down. They're going to make St. Ignatius work for every tackle. And there we go. Sam Betts has it. He has the breakaway. However, he's brought down. And Vincent Boozing's right there. He picks the ball up, gains a meter or two, lays the ball down, and the Lions are still attacking on offense. Again, just picking and going.
One thing Salette has done very well is they have been supporting their players very well. So when a player goes down, they quickly ruck over.
The Lions inching closer and closer to the try line, getting the ball. They're swinging it to the backs, and there's the open hole, and there's another try for the Lions.
Peter Dvorak's second try of the game, extending their lead to 26-3 now.
And the Lions just dominating out there right now. Their offense is looking very solid. They've definitely fine-tuned those mistakes. I haven't seen as many knock-ons. I don't know if there have been any knock-ons, maybe one in the second half. But the Lions just doing absolutely fantastic out there. And one thing that I just thought of, so there have been a lot of substitutions right now. Gabe, Ben Halligan, Sam Betts is now in there. Fitzpatrick wasn't there. I don't think Gus Blood is in there right now, but that just means the Lions definitely have a bench that they can work with. They can substitute, roll their players through. There's 18 minutes left in this game, and the Lions just looking very comfortable out there in during this match.
Quigley's kick is good. It will go into the parking lot, and that is his third kick of the game, I believe. His fourth, excuse me, and he has not missed a kick yet.
And Kevin Quigley definitely, as I said earlier, a reliable kicker for the Lions. I mean, there were a couple of times where most of these kicks have been straight on, not too difficult, but there were times where it was on the edge of the field. Basically, an impossible kick for definitely anybody that's not played rugby, and a hard kick for even rugby players. And Kevin was able to knock them down, especially when it mattered. So that's definitely good for this team.
Right, and I've seen Kevin work. He's definitely been working on his kicking game throughout the winter and the off season. So so far, it seems to have paid off, and we hope to see more of his kicking this season. So,
yeah, definitely in the professional level, kicking is a very important part of the game, especially with this new rule where you can kick it into the opponent's 22 indirectly into touch and get the ball there. So, definitely, if he can perfect that, that's going to be huge for the Lions. However, there's a penalty awarded to St. Ignatius. They're going to opt for a scrum. The Lions definitely getting their practice with the scrum this game.
I believe Titan Esparza has been moved to the 8-man position now that Augustin Blood is out of the game.
And Ben Halligan, he's all right. I think he just had a dead leg earlier in the game. Gabe Staffke took his position, but he's walking around on the sideline. And John Reen, the drone flyer, hopefully that will be coming later in this season. He said that he just had gotten a dead leg, so he's all right, which is thankfully. And a huge tackle there by the Lions defense, pushing St. Ignatius back.
Great aggressive tackle by Daniel Duggan. Daniel I've seen him throughout the rugby practices, and he just has so much intensity and aggressiveness. It's good to see him contribute hugely out on the field.
Lions moving back 10. Another penalty awarded to St. Ignatius.
St. Ignatius taking a while to set up their offense. Now they go and don't make much headway against the Lions' strong tackle. Passing it already to their backs, where they won't get much either.
Martin. And another big tackle for the Lions. St. Ignatius swinging the ball from wing to wing. He's trying to right now, and the Lions just making tackle after tackle, which is great to see. And there's a knock on by St. Ignatius, and ref is going to blow the whistle, and there's going to be another scrum.
The Lions definitely don't seem too tired at all. I think Coach Vitri's conditioning programs have certainly paid off. I remember hearing remarks about Coach Vitri's intense conditioning practices and running drills that he'd have them do.
And not only his
quite difficult.
Yeah, not only his conditioning, but also his weightlifting. You can definitely see the strength of the players right now. They've been doing an intense lifting workout throughout the summer and throughout the preseason during basketball season, both basketball players and rugby players, and then the basketball players, the double sport players, definitely putting the extra work in, getting up early just to get their lifts in, and we can definitely see that paying off right now. Those big hits and the big tackles as a couple new subs come in for the Lions. And it's the Lions scrum, so they're going to get the ball and back on offense.
Lions still playing aggressively, not letting up with the intensity. Eamon Martin sidesteps his defender. And as Pedri passes it down, Braden Wall will pick the ball up and making some huge gains. Ian Kellerman now in, runs for a few yards. The ball pops loose, and the Lions are able to, they're not able to recover it. St. Ignatius gets possession.
Taking advantage of that small mistake by the Lions, and the Lions just pushing back on defense. Lions not wanting to give up anything.
St. Ignatius running it with their backs. Wildcats definitely seem a bit unorganized.
And St. Ignatius definitely a powerful team. This is not their A-side varsity, but St. Ignatius won the national championship in 2022. So St. Ignatius is definitely a good team. The Lions made it to the quarterfinals last year, losing against Glen Allen. Definitely a hard loss to the Lions. A well-played game. However, they weren't able to come up with the victory. The Lions definitely doing very well this game as St. Ignatius gets the penalty, and they're going to kick to touch.
So the Lions, not very often on this side of the pitch, have a chance to show their defensive skills again as they line up ready to take on the Wildcats offense. Throw in by the Wildcats, and they will take it down their back line. A little bit of a breakthrough. Lions quickly there to fill in the gaps. Wildcats pause and then take it in with their forwards.
Lions got to keep this defense up, keep the St. Ignatius out of the try zone as they're St. Ignatius is taking their forwards and gaining meters slowly. The Lions really got to push them back, maybe poach or steal a ruck. St. Ignatius continues to push forward.
The Lions not letting them get much of anything, really.
Now the St. Ignatius passes it out to the backs. A little disorganized there, and that advance is quickly brought to an end. And St. Ignatius continues to attack forward on offense. The Lions defense right there to meet them. St. Ignatius trying to suck the Lions defenders in, but they're not taking the bait. And St. Ignatius gets a breakaway and right on the try line.
Not quite there. The ref has not called the try yet. And he will not. He will call it back to a penalty for the Wildcats. They will quick tap it and take it with their forwards. Lions not letting them get anywhere.
Great defense by the Lions. They were right on the try line. Ref was looking to see. I think the ball was unplayable, so the ball was brought back to the penalty as, again, the Lions push St. Ignatius back, holding them off from the try line.
Now all the Lions need to do is gain possession of the ball and kick it out or run it out.
Lions continuing to push them back, holding their defensive line.
The Lions are just not giving up.
they do have to be careful of not getting too sucked into the ball. They got to keep their spacing, keep their defense solid. Sam Betts is not budging. He's staying on his player. And the St. Ignatius continues to plow it in. There, they pass it out to the backs.
And I don't believe, was it ruled a try or not? A little bit of confusing. The ref raised his hand, but at the same time, it seemed like the player who placed the ball may have knocked it.
I do believe it was a try for St. Ignatius, and yes, it was. St. Ignatius gets into the try zone. However, they had to fight tooth and nail to get that one. The Lions were not going to give it up freely. However, St. Ignatius is to.
So that is the first try. The first try of the game for the Wildcats, and Lions now lead 28-8.
8 minutes and 40 seconds left is on the scoreboard. However, we don't know exactly how much time is left in the game. It's somewhere around there, but the Lions going to come back and they're going to hopefully push the ball back into the St. Ignatius's into their half of the field, keep it that way, and then hopefully poach, steal, rucker, something to that effect. And that kick is good for St. Ignatius, 10-28.
So the Lions will kick to the Wildcats. I believe they attempt a quick kick, but the ref does not let them get away with that.
Lions are trying to catch St. Ignatius off guard. However, Kevin's going to retake the kick.
And a dominant tackle there made by Titan Esparza.
Titan Esparza, a sophomore this year, definitely getting his playing time last year as only a freshman, and he's definitely a big help to the Lions offense this year. Bad pass by St. Ignatius, and they're going to lose a lot of meters because of that. And that tackle, almost being a maul, is finally brought down to the ground.
Mark Schoberly now in the game. Good to see him returning from last year. It's been almost a year since he's played. Recovered from an injury, and it's great to see him back on the field.
St. Ignatius again continues to slowly gain meters. The Lions really got to get some ruck, and I think that was offsides on that St. Ignatius player, but nothing's called, and the Lions push over, and there's going to be a penalty on the Lions, and he's calling for the captain. Not too happy with what happened there.
Giving some instructions to the Lions lock, Charles Prather. And he has Captain Peter Dvorak there to explain the rules as well.
I definitely cannot hear what he's saying, but he might be giving him a warning. There have been a lot of penalties this game, and St. Ignatius tries to kick it to touch. However, the referee tells them to retake the kick because he was not ready, and that kick does not go into touch, so it's going to be the Lions' ball. It's a good breakaway for the Lions as St. Ignatius had the momentum there, and hopefully the Lions can take it back. They just got to keep control of the ball.
Braden Wall making up some big meters and still going.
Like a raging bull, he dominates down there, taking every meter, driving his legs. And the Lions are now back on St. Ignatius's side of play, or excuse me, side of the field. And Martin's going to do a little chip kick, goes to catch it, and he's not able to. And there's a penalty awarded to the Lions. Quick tap, and the referee is not going to allow Kevin to take the quick tap. He tells St. Ignatius to back up.
And Quigley will kick to touch.
Nice kick there by Kevin. And again, I don't know exactly what happened there. The referee, I think, was explaining something to St. Ignatius, and Kevin tried to do a quick tap, but he told him to come back and go to the mark. So he just kicks to touch, and it's going to be the Lions line out.
So the Lions still keeping up the aggressiveness, and they only have about 4.5 minutes left to go.
Definitely, as you said, the Lions looking conditioned, which is great to see. Their offense is looking great, and there's a nice line out. The ball was straight. Goes straight into the first player. Good play there for the Lions. As they push against the St. Ignatius' defense, gaining meter after meter. Balls to Kevin. Eamon Martin gets it now. Dancing around a little bit. Still on his feet, pushing forward, and is finally brought down to the ground. Lions making a lot of meters here after that big run from Braden Wall.
Lions making St. Ignatius really work to bring them down. That last run by Eamon had at least 3 or 4 St. Ignatius players hanging on to him.
And again, the Lions just plowing forward, getting hit, and it's a big hit, and they just drive their legs just like Coach Vitri's been telling them to. And there we go as another try scored by the Lions.
And the Lions just do not let up here. They score again, just as we hoped they would after that last try by St. Ignatius. So good to see the Lions. And as they will receive the ball here now in the next possession, hopefully they'll be able to do it again possibly, or at least keep St. Ignatius from scoring anymore.
And the Lions down there, St. Ignatius is able to get into their try zone, and the Lions definitely just came right back, got that kick after St. Ignatius wasn't able to kick it into touch, and we're able to come back down the other side of the field. The Lions offense looking very strong right now, which is great to see, and Braden Wall just absolutely fantastic, and a powerhouse out there just driving forward, not being brought down. That is great to see, and you can definitely see the strength, the conditioning, and the aggression. Another big thing that Coach Vitri has been working on the team is the aggressiveness, and we've definitely seen that this game. And Kevin's going to kick it back on the other side, and it's going to go into touch. It's going to be St. Ignatius' ball.
So as Quigley's kick for the conversion is no good, the score remains 33-10 in favor of the Lions.
Clock winding down. It's at 1:36, so probably about 2 minutes left in this game. Line out is won by St. Ignatius, and they're going to go back on the offense. A big breakaway, however, that's brought down. St. Ignatius putting on the aggression and making lots of meters. The Lions defense got to stay strong here.
Lions being very careful not to get sucked into the ruck and remaining evenly spread out across the pitch so that they are not caught off guard or overloaded on one side of the field.
And this tackling right now by the Lions is fantastic. Their double tackles bringing them down, and there's the strip. The Lions come up with the ball. Great play there by, I believe that was Peter Dvorak. I might be wrong on that, but
indeed it was Peter. He took the ball straight from St. Ignatius's hands and took it for a few meters back the other way.
And Kevin's going to kick it the other way, and it's St. Ignatius's ball again. And there's a penalty awarded to St. Ignatius.
And will the ref call time? Or will he will allow the game to continue? The ball does not go out of touch. It is fielded by Gerard Nienaber, who then kicks it out of touch. And that will end the game, ladies and gentlemen.
St. Ignatius, the La Salette Lions coming out on top of the first match of this 2023 preseason game. The Lions doing a fantastic job this afternoon, coming out strong. Their offense looks very solid. Defense is very solid too. Definitely there were a couple mistakes this afternoon, but that was to be expected for this first game, and that's definitely something that can be fixed up, touched up over practice before the season begins. But very well pleased of how the Lions did this afternoon.
Right, something really we'd like to see as the Lions preseason game. It's good to see them get rolling and
find the rhythm, work on those. Definitely the basketball players that missed the first practices at the beginning of the preseason get their time out on the field, and the Lions definitely have had a couple intramural scrimmages against like different sides, the games in the school. However, this is the first game against an opponent that's against their skill level or against their level, and the Lions are able to come out on top. But the Lions C side is now going to be taking on the St. Ignatius's freshman-sophomore team, and the clock says in about 10 minutes, but it might be a little bit longer than that. But please tune in for that game. But until then, this was a pleasure bringing you the broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.